Upfront and Outspoken with Bob Williams. If you love the Constitution,
man is not free unless government is limited.
if you love freedom,
As government expands, liberty contracts.
if you believe in personal responsibility, if you believe America is still the greatest nation on earth, then get ready for an experience you'll never forget. This is Upfront and Outspoken. Here's your host, Bob Williams.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
That's right. That's right. I am mad. And what am I mad about? Well, yesterday, what can I tell you? Yesterday, if you listen to my show, you'll notice that I did talk about something that was, I guess, people just don't have the concept of the Constitution and the statement regarding the separation of church and state. All right. Now you're asking me okay, Bob, what the hell am I talking about? Well, I made a post, and I am going to target this one specific Facebook page because this is the only Facebook page where I had posted about an upcoming event that's going to be happening here on the Starcom Radio Network this Thursday, in which IQ El Razuli is going to be a guest. We're going to have him on Skype. We're going to be talking about how America is being lied to regarding the Islamic or / Muslim religion. And I made a post on United Progressives. That's right, United Progressives Facebook page. Yesterday morning, I went into my Facebook account, as I always do, and I got this message regarding the fact that they did delete the post regarding this event. And they cite it, and this is what really gets me. This one gentleman, and his exact words were, "Perhaps you are unacquainted with the policy of separation of church and state, Bob. We neither encourage nor discourage matters of private belief, and your arguments about freedom of speech have no place in a conference whose focus is on a specific agenda. We are an advocacy group, not a public street where you can set up your soapbox." That's right. You heard it right. He said, right out, policy of separation of church and state. Okay. So, once again, this did infuriate me because we were referring to the First Amendment. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution reads as follows: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Okay, that's exactly what that amendment says. Is there anything in there regarding separation of church and state? Is there anything in that regarding the separation of church and state? And then I challenge my listeners to tell me, to prove to me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the separation of church and state is within the United States Constitution. Well, I got one email from a guy who said that, well, I know it's in there someplace, I just don't have the exact quote. Well, guess what, folks? If you believe, and mind you, this is regarding this particular issue, the First Amendment. Guess what? I was proven right when I stated the fact that it is not in the Constitution. You will not find one single word that specifically states the separation of church and state. That's right. It's not in there. Never has been, never will be in the Constitution, because the phrase separation of church and state does not appear in the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson wrote the First Amendment and he erected a wall of separation between the church and state. James Madison said it drew a line, but it is Jefferson's term that sticks with us today. And those exact words that Thomas Jefferson wrote is, and I'm looking, I just had it here. Thomas Jefferson indeed did write this. He wrote, a hedge or wall of separation between the garden of the church and the wilderness of the world was first used by Baptist theologian Roger Williams, and that was in 1644. Jefferson wrote in 1801, we have solved by fair experiment the great and interesting question whether freedom of religion is compatible with order in government and obedience to the laws, and we have experienced the quiet and well as the comfort which results with leaving. And it goes on. But he did say in there a wall of separation. But this was only in a letter. That came out in 1801. Although, since then, the United States Supreme Court has said that there must be a separation of church and state, that the state cannot interfere in your religion, which is guaranteed under the United States Constitution. But for this asshole to come up and tell me the policy of church and state, when in fact what I was doing by making the post about the upcoming event on Thursday was to show people there wasn't an opposing view. It's not an expression of a religion. And then he cited, and this is what really got me. I don't want to disrupt. I don't want to, basically offend those within the community. And he cites, here's his exact words. Religion is not a topic we feel appropriate for United Progressives. We have a number of members who are Muslim, and we appreciate their participation and support of progressive values. I will be deleting your post on lifting the veil. I was expressing my right under the First Amendment of freedom of speech and freedom of the press. Yet this clown who evidently has not read the Constitution cites to me the separation of church and state. Nowhere in our Constitution, does it specifically mention the separation of church and state. Yes, there have been Supreme Court cases regarding this, but I was not arguing a religion. I was in the process of bringing forth an opposing viewpoint, and this asshole couldn't see beyond that. He takes it upon himself to see such a narrow-minded view. Well, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, I made that same post on over 50 other pages. And this is the only page on Facebook that decided to take it upon themselves and delete it. Why? Because it offended this jerk. That's all it is. It offended him. Because on those other sites, I had Muslims who, quote unquote, liked the post. I have a former Muslim individual going to be coming on my show on Thursday to talk about it. A person who is putting her life at risk because she lives right there in Baghdad. She's going to be joining my panel of guests along with others. But yet, this clown, this idiot decides I am going to cite the separation of church and state. I was not talking about a religion. I am not up in front of a podium saying God this, God that, Allah this, Allah that, whatever the hell you want to believe in. You know, I wasn't doing that. I was offering a opposing viewpoint based on his 30 plus years of research. This is what I was doing. And yet this guy says, well, you know, it's religion. It's focused on religion. It's focused on an issue. It's focused on an issue that every single one of you have already thought about. Because guess what? ISIS, Hamas, Al-Qaeda, and I don't know how many other terroristic groups out there, they all are saying that it is based on their faith in Islam and in the Muslim faith. So what do? You try to debunk what their belief system is. You try to debunk their belief system. And this is what I was doing. This is all I was doing. And yet this guy, this idiot, this guy who thinks he is God, takes it upon himself and says, no, this is religion. I'm going to delete it. And he cites the separation of church and state. Well, guess what? This guy better go back to school. And mind you, this is the thing. This guy who wrote this, studied philosophy. That's right. This guy who wrote this studied philosophy. You would think somebody that's supposed to have such a quote-unquote education could see that what I was doing was bringing about an opposing viewpoint. It was not an argument specifically about the religion, although there are passages that will be brought up directly out of the Quran in that discussion. But it was regarding the misinformation that is being disseminated about this particular group of people. And I'm going to say group of people because the simple fact is you have ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hamas, and other terrorist groups who fall on this. I was bringing a viewpoint. I was not discussing a specific religion per se, although these groups that I previously mentioned do fall on that book, the Quran. They say that what they are doing is in the Quran. I was bringing a point of view, an opposing point of view to what everybody has been led to believe. And yet this idiot, this philosopher says, you know, we're deleting it because you're going to offend people that we have that are Muslim, and we can't have that. Well, guess what? Like I said, I made that same post on over 50 other Facebook pages, and this is the only one. This is the only one that takes it down because they believe that the separation of church and state is in the United States Constitution, when in fact it is not. In fact, it is not. And once again, I can't help but emphasize, this is what the Constitution clearly and specifically states. The First Amendment states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Tell me where within that amendment that this asshole cites, basically, by saying separation of church and state, where does it say that in there? And I challenge you, I challenge everybody out there, dig up the Constitution, including all whatever amendments we have by now. Go through it, word for word, and show me where it says separation of church and state. You'll never find it. Guaranteed, you will never find it. But yet this guy cites it. It only came out in 1801 in a letter from Thomas Jefferson. He said, we set up a wall to separate, the ability of what religion can do. He said, we set the wall up by the Constitution, but we were going to basically allow the courts to decide this, which is the right way to do it. And the Supreme Court has ruled time and time again that the state cannot interfere in establishment of a church and in other activities of a church. However, even the government is somewhat involved, because for many churches to be recognized, they have to be listed as nonprofit. So there you do have a little bit of government involved. However, there is no specific wording in the Constitution regarding the separation of church and state, and this asshole says there was. All I was offering was an opposing view, an opposing argument. But yet this idiot, who is a philosopher, who studied philosophy, says I was bringing up religion as a topic. No, it's not a religion. I'm attacking it, yes. And I offered it out to have other people with opposing views who would be willing to challenge IQ al-Razuli. I invited him to come on, to come into the panelist discussion. Guess what? None of them will. So what is that telling you? These were people from, right here in Oklahoma, Arkansas, elsewhere. I have asked people from the Muslim community, please come on, become a panelist, and refute what IQ was saying. But guess what? It seems nobody within that community is willing to come on air and refute him. So what is that telling you? Am I attacking the Muslim religion? No, I'm trying to offer both pros, cons, indifferences, both sides of the table. But yet the one side of the table, they don't want to come on. And this asshole takes it upon himself, and like I said, he stressed separation of church and state. Yeah, figure that one out. The only, and this is what really gets me, folks. This is the only Facebook page that I put it on that deleted the post. It's been on over 50 other Facebook pages. None of them deleted it. In fact, Muslims who are on those liked what I put. So I must be doing something right, wouldn't you say? I must be if these other organizations, these other Facebook pages can see that this is not an attack on a religion, but on a theology, and I am offering opposing viewpoints. What is wrong with this guy? He has an issue. He has not interpreted the Constitution the way it was to be interpreted. He did not read the Constitution, because nowhere in the Constitution does it say a separation of church and state. Not one little iota stating that. Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. What can I say? I can't say it's time for me to get out of here. Stay tuned, because coming up here at the bottom of the hour, The one, the only, Ed Till will be with you all the way up until 4 o'clock. So until tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., this is Bob Williams. Take care of yourselves.